Hi everyone, today is Wednesday and our read aloud for this evening is going to be about another incredible singer. Her name was Aretha Franklin and she was an African-American woman who had this voice like I've never heard. And you might hear her in the background. She sang some of my favorite songs. The one that's currently playing is Respect, R-E-S-P-E-C-T. um, she could just get into like these huge like vocals and just open her mouth and like, oh, Miss Michelle can't sing like that. But she was very respected. And we're going to read a story about her life. And maybe after, sorry, I can't get her to stop talking. There we go. And after the story's over, if you could ask your grown-up to maybe search for some Aretha Franklin music on YouTube so you could hear her, her incredible voice, that'd be awesome. But I want to share with you her story and where she came from when she was a little girl and what she did with her life and how she inspired so many. And I hope you enjoy this book. So let me share the screen with you. Oh, not that screen. We don't want to go to that screen. Hold on. Let me share the real screen that I want to share with you. Here we go. Excellent. So here is the book over here in blue, and this is a picture of Aretha Franklin, but it's actually a cartoon. Someone had drew that one, and there's her with her microphone, and the microphone is something you sing into so that everyone can hear your voice. And the title of this book is just her name. It's 2 words, Aretha Franklin. And this is actually a really fancy type of writing. It's called cursive, and you'll learn that in like 3rd grade. So you have a little bit before you learn that. So let's go ahead and let's read about Aretha Franklin. There she is when she was a little girl in the bathtub. It says, if there was someone in Detroit who was born to sing, it was little Aretha. Her mother was a gospel singer and her father was a preacher who believed that music could move not just people's hearts, but the world. Her mom left when Aretha was very little, but she never felt alone. Home was always filled with musicians, and she learned to play the piano just by listening to them. Wow, that's incredible. Lots of people have to like take lessons from someone. She could just listen and she taught herself. And there she is listening to all these musicians. It looks like these 2 gentlemen are playing the trumpet. She started singing in the gospel choir at the church where her father was a minister. Aretha's voice was so powerful and smooth as silk. Listening to her, the whole congregation felt that tomorrow would be a brighter day. So she attended a church where her father was the minister, and when she would sing, people could just feel the love and the hope for tomorrow. It's powerful. Convinced of her talent, Aretha's father took her on tour. So that means they traveled. They went to different places, different churches, so that she could sing, so other people could hear her voice. Wherever Aretha performed, she did it with such grace that people would cry with joy. Wow, that tells me that she just had the most beautiful voice. She could just bring people to tears with it. What a gift. But even though she loved gospel music, Aretha dreamed that her voice could be heard outside of the church, in people's homes. So when a record company offered her a contract, she didn't have to think about it twice. So that means somebody who makes like CDs or music, they contacted her and said, wow, we think that we want to record your voice so lots of people could hear you. Before long, Aretha's songs were climbing the charts. That just means lots of people were listening through the radios and they just loved it so much that they would buy up her music. There was something magical in her voice that moved people's hearts and their bodies. That means they loved to dance to her music. Much like her most popular song, Respect. It was called Respect, and it was a song written by Otis Redding that sounded brand new in Aretha's voice. Suddenly, the words of a tired working man became an anthem for African American women demanding equal respect. And so this came from a time where not everybody who was African American was treated how they should have been, whether the color of their skin or not. And so this song, Respect, means you need to treat me right. And because of her voice was so powerful, lots of people listened, as they should. One of Aretha's friends was Martin Luther King Jr., and we're going to talk about him. Mr. Williams is going to read you a book about him. He was a great civil rights leader, and she stood next to him, challenging people to raise their voices against racism. And racism, it's a big word, and what that means is to treat people equally, no matter the color of their skin. And they made people who weren't listening to that. They tried to make them listen with their voices. And when he died, she sang the most beautiful song in his honor, and that song was Precious Lord. Aretha started writing her own songs and producing them too. She went from gospel to jazz, doo-wop and pop to rhythm and blues, singing every song from the bottom of her heart. She recorded hundreds of great hits, and she loved them all. Aretha used a secret recipe when writing her songs. They had to talk about everyday ups and downs. That's what soul was all about. So that meant she talked about things that made her happy and things that were going on great in the world and in her life. And then she also talked about those hard things, those sad things, those frustrating things in her music. And I think that's why a lot of people could relate to her and bought her music. It took Aretha 30 long years to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She was the first woman in history to be on the list. Aretha was the queen of soul and a trailblazer for many other female artists. So that meant that there weren't a lot of African American women or women in general that people listened to as much as her, and she led the way for people to really listen to music and listen to other artists. And wow, incredible. Her greatest honor was singing at the inauguration of the first African American president of the United States. I'm going to stop right there. She sang at President Barack Obama's inauguration. That means when he was just starting to become president. She got to sing for him and sing for the world. Aretha was voicing one of the most important moments in history. And if you have a chance, tell your grown-ups to let you listen to that. And no one has ever been able to sing a song quite like Aretha, the little girl who asked for equality. That means for everybody to treat people equally, or the same, and won the RESPECT, that means respect, of millions. That means lots of people loved her and respected her. The greatest soul singer of all time. And that's the end of this story. And this shows Aretha. She was born a long time ago in 1942. This was her in her when she was just almost 20 years old. This was her when she was 27. She's up there singing with her microphone. This was her a few years later. And this was her singing at Barack Obama's inauguration when he became president. And so again, she just has this incredible voice that I really, really hope that your grown-ups go ahead and play a little bit of her voice for you. So just ask your grown-ups to find some of Aretha Franklin's music and listen, and I hope you enjoyed as much as me. Okay, friends, that was our read aloud for today. And I want you to be thinking, do you like singing? Have you ever tried to belt out like these beautiful music just like Aretha? And if that's not your thing, what are you good at? What's something that you might be able to show people who you are through a special talent that you may have? Okay, friends, I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow morning. Thank you for joining me for the Read Aloud. Bye.